Minister, how can you expect a family that makes $55,000 be able to possibly cover $80,000 worth of therapy a year and have cutbacks on top of that?
So just to talk about the means testing, it will be very gradual. Those making $55,000 will receive about 99% of the funding. The funding is from 0 to 18, up to $140,000 per child. But we had to make a difficult decision. It was either have a system in place that 1 in 4 children were receiving service, where 3 out of 4 were being denied, or extend support to everyone, which is what we've done. We have increased the budget from $256 million to $321 million, and on top of that we had a $100 million emergency infusion in order to continue to support
But families say they'd rather be on the wait list than get the table scraps.
Well, that's the problem with what the NDP's rhetoric is they're suggesting that these children with autism, the 23,000 that were on the wait list, would somehow magically get off. The sad part of this is, and this is why the driving force behind why we've gone to a direct fund model, is because those 23,000 children were virtually never going to get off that wait list. For every one child to get on into service, we would need 5 to 6 to move off. And so the wait lists were indefinite, and it was going to continue to ensure that 3 out of 4 children weren't getting the service that they needed, which is why we've moved to double the investment into Diagnostic Hub. It's also why we moved to a direct funding model where parents will have more flexibility and choice within that $140,000 childhood budget.
Have you fudged the numbers, though? Of that 23,000, how many had already received some form of treatment?
Well, if they may have received private treatment, but they're on the wait list for the provincial government. This is data-driven. This is information that has been derived from my ministry officials in coordination with service providers across Ontario. And that is why when questions came up today from the New Democrats suggesting that, they admitted themselves that even some of our service providers weren't able to tell them when they were going to get off the wait list. It's because it was so indefinite. It's unconscionable that only the 3 out of 4 children with autism in Ontario were receiving no support whatsoever from their Ontario government.
But now all are receiving very little.
Well, everyone will receive support, and they will have.
But is it enough? Please acknowledge at least it's not enough support for families.
We've increased our budget spend from $256 million to $321 million. We have doubled our investment into diagnostic hubs. We're going to clear the wait list in 18 months. We're going to focus on early intervention, where there's going to be a lot more money available to families, and we're going to allow them to have choice in that system.
Are you reshuffling the chairs on the Titanic?
I don't think it's fair that 3 out of 4 children in Ontario were denied service from their Ontario government.
Minister, parents and ONTABAs...
Just 1 second, I'll go.
Parents and ONTABA are saying that clearing the wait list is just going to create a secondary wait list, as thousands who are on the wait list then are suddenly all looking for treatment at the same time. Do you see that happening?
Well, look, I think that there will be a number of people that will want to go to behavioral therapy. There will be others that will want to invest in caregiver training, respite services, as well as technological aids. We heard that come up in question period yesterday, where the iPad was the tool that supported the family. I've had the opportunity to meet with families across Ontario. They have asked for direct funding, and that's what we're going to provide, and they will be able to work with our service navigator to ensure that the needs of their families are best met. Okay, Brandy?
I've got to go.
Oh, bye.
Is a funding increase at all in the cards if this keeps up and parents are saying we need more money for this?
So I'll be very clear. This is the program. This is what's going to be implemented. I will be the minister responsible for implementing it. The New Democrats want to provide false hope to families and say that there is, that this plan is going to change. It's not. We have increased the budget spend in this ministry for autism from $256 million to $321 million. We had an emergency $100 million to sustain the system that was bankrupt, that I inherited in June, in order to ensure that 25% of the kids with autism were going to continue with their service. We are now expanding that, and we are proud to make sure that there are going to be all the children in Ontario that have autism will be supported.
So how much would it cost to get every child the funding that they need?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Based on children and the wait list, I don't have those numbers at this point in time.
Which group actually supported it? Which group said yes, it's a good idea to give less to more?
Well, so I would say there's 23,000 children in Ontario that I have to make sure get some level of support.
But ONTABA, the Autism Coalition, which group supported this? Which group of experts said this is a better way to do
Well,
this?
we did the announcement at Holland Bloorview. They provided us with an endorsement.
But for diagnostic, I mean, it's easy to say yes, it's good to have more diagnostics. That's what they approved. Who said it's a great idea to give more children far less?
Aaron Oakes and CHIO and Holland Bloorview all endorsed this plan. And
The diagnostic part.
Last question, everyone.
You know what? This is the plan moving forward. If anybody in Ontario thinks it's fair that 23,000 children were denied support from their Ontario government, I'd like to meet them.
But is there one parent that approves of this? Is there one parent?